Good. Okay. Good evening all, and welcome to the December 8th, 2020 Board of Education meeting. I need a motion to call this meeting to order, please.
Motion?
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I assume everybody here, small crowd, knows the emergency exits to the rear and to the sides. I need a motion for the approval of the order of agenda, please.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Christine?
Thank you,
Clerk's
Mr.
report.
Springer. For the approval of minutes, be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts minutes of the business meeting held November 10th, 2020.
I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Public comment. Speakers will be recognized who wish to address the board on agenda items only. I think we're not going to have that right this minute, but okay. We are going to go to our Students of the Month, which I believe we have on video.
Yep, tonight we welcome everybody watching from afar. We hope that all of our Student of the Month families are watching and have folks from around the country that they've called their cousins and grandmas and grandpas to watch. Because of the restrictions of us being a yellow zone, we've limited tonight's board meeting in person to just our Board of Education, but it does not change how we feel about our Students of the Month and how proud we are. So we have a video for you to watch, board members, and at this point we will introduce to you our Students of the Month.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Springer and members of the Board of Education. On behalf of Mr. Meyer and Mrs. McDermott, it is my pleasure to introduce the Hampton Bays Elementary School Student of the Month, Valentina Guevara. Come on down, Valentina. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Mrs. McDermott describes Valentina as an incredibly sweet young lady and dedicated student. Valentina comes to class every day with welcoming energy, an excitement to learn, and a smile you can see for miles. She's willing to share her thoughts and experience with her peers through her voracious storytelling. Her excitement for learning is contagious, and you can see in all areas in her school day, especially during specials. Valentina continuously strives to do her best and models what it means to be a good citizen both in and outside of the classroom. She enjoys sharing stories of her family, especially about her younger brother. Valentina is a positive role model who is always willing to help and encourage her students. After speaking with Valentina, I can attest to her continuous enthusiasm, energy, and warm smile that is beamed through her mask. She shared with me her interest in being a budding soccer player, an artist, and one day, special teacher. Valentina really enjoys playing soccer with her friends and plays on a team where she says she scores many goals. She loves drawing on her spare time and stated that art and Miss McDowell is her favorite special area class and looks forward to the days the class has art special. I believe Miss McDermott and Miss McDowell have inspired Valentina to pursue a career in education, as she has created her own how-to videos for her classmates, which both teachers post on their Seesaw account. Valentina's classmates look forward to viewing these posted how-to videos and recreating her visions. We are lucky to have Valentina in our school, and we look forward to the incredible things she will accomplish in the future. Congratulations on being the Student of the Month for November. There is no one else who deserves it more, Valentina. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Show everybody the beautiful plaque you got.
Congratulations, Valentina.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Diane Fox, and I'm the Assistant Principal of Hampton Bays Middle School. It is my pleasure to present this evening our Student of the Month for October, 8th grade student, Miss Olivia Allen. You're welcome. Olivia was nominated by her team of teachers for this recognition based on her work ethic and willingness to help others in each of her classes. Even with the hybrid format of classes, Olivia actively participates in discussions and helps students at home when she is in person at school. I had the opportunity to meet with Olivia via Google Meets and find out a little more about her that I'd like to share with all of you. Olivia is an 8th grade student that, in her own words, has changed a lot over the past 4 years. She's happy that she feels like she's finally found her core group of friends and has managed the emotional roller coaster of middle school. She has enjoyed the Wellness Mondays this year because it allows her to get ready for school during the week and catch up on anything that she may need. Her current favorite subject is math, specifically algebra with Mrs. Dino. She thinks Mrs. Dino is amazing and loves her because she always checks in with her students to make sure that they understand everything that's going on in class. Olivia mentioned to me that Mrs. Dino gets so excited about students understanding math that it's actually uplifting. Olivia has enjoyed playing volleyball at Hampton Bays Middle School and being involved in all different types of school activities. I asked Olivia about what she enjoys outside of school, and she lit up when talking about the Southampton ice rink that she goes to on Friday nights. She loves how it makes her feel like nothing is going on and that everything is normal. Olivia has big plans for her future in the arts and would like to pursue college in New York City and not have a traditional college campus. She wants to experience her surroundings and explore a career in acting. Some fun facts about Olivia are that she enjoys skateboarding and painting on canvases. When asked about what advice she has for other middle school students, Olivia shared that what has helped her is to remain consistent, be involved, emailing and communicating with her teachers, and putting in a lot of effort. Olivia also shared that this year has reminded her and many others to care about those around you, especially your loved ones. She also thinks that no one will ever complain about going to school again. Olivia, Mr. Shug and I are so proud of you, and we can't wait to see all the great things you're going to accomplish. Congratulations.
All right.
Hello, it is my pleasure to introduce Hampton Bays Middle School Student of the Month for November, 7th grader Shay Egan. Shay, join me up here. Shay is a member of our Ivy League team. This is for you. You're welcome. Shay's teachers share the following about her candidacy as Student of the Month. Shay has been working hard all quarter, and her grades are exceptional. However, that is only the tip of the iceberg as to why Shay is deserving of this recognition. She does an amazing job of balancing schoolwork, friendships, and her extracurricular activities. During my interview with Shay over Zoom on Wellness Monday, her responses to my questions confirmed all that her teachers expressed about her as a leader and a role model for other adolescents at HBMS. Shay's favorite classes this year are her social studies class with Mr. Doulos and her science class with Mrs. Haddock. Shay particularly enjoys learning about world history from medieval times to our constitutional freedoms. In science class, Shay enjoys what she learns about cell parts and human anatomy. In typical times, Shay has appreciated being a member of the Students Take Action Club, also known as STAC at HBMS. Her most memorable time as a STAC member was when a group of students conducted interviews with local members of the senior center community. Learning about life experiences and then presenting these stories to younger middle school students reminded Shay that everyone has a story worth telling. She values community service and having opportunities to help others around her. Shay is a scholar athlete. She is an avid softball, volleyball, soccer, and basketball player. Additionally, she is a surfer, especially from the months of April through October. She enjoys competing as a member of a team as well as, in the case of surfing, the peaceful and solitude nature of being out on the water. Shay's favorite book is Fever 1793
and she highly recommends any and all of the books from the Harry Potter series. Having read them all twice between 3rd grade and now, her favorite from the series remains the first. What does Shay enjoy most about reading? Being able to experience life through the characters. She is an aspiring doctor and someone who loves learning how the human body systems and anatomy functions. She also has a plan and literally knows where she's going and how she will get there. In fact, after high school, Shay wants to go from being a Bayman to becoming a Buckeye, as she aspires to attend Ohio State because of its reputation in the School of Medicine. Back to middle school for a minute. What advice does Shay have for future middle school students so they can experience similar success to that which she has experienced so far? Well, for starters, Shay tells us to always have a charged Chromebook. Always have at least a pencil and piece of paper. Have a batch of pens. Make sure to do all of your homework. And maybe of greatest importance, make friends. Shay shares that she is fortunate to have a good supportive family and friendship group, which is the key to her being grounded and a successful life. Shay, congratulations on this latest accomplishment as Student of the Month. Be proud of yourself and continue to pursue your hopes and dreams this year, next year, and in the years ahead. We can all be sure the best is yet to come for Shay Egan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening, the Board of Education, Mr. Clemenson, parents, and fellow educators. The Hampton-based Student of the Month nomination came from the Social Studies Department. Christian Cruz is a young man whose quiet presence masks a powerful character. Christian is a mega achiever, averaging in his high 90s to nearly perfect scores in all of his classes. But aside from his academic, it is his empathy and kindness that make him stand out. During last year's closure, when everyone felt isolated and often scared, Christian actually took his time to reach out to his teachers to ask how they are doing. We're so proud to call the sophomore a Bayman and looking forward to seeing him soar to his potential. Congratulations, Christian. Awesome.
Tonight, but hopefully we'll see you very soon. We will move on to Mr. Clemenson and his presentation.
Okay. A couple of items tonight. If I'll pull the microphone closer to me so you can hear. I want to start with where I normally start with enrollment and give you an update on where we are. So in November of 2020, we had 2,012 students, and in December, as of today, we have 2,010 students. Funny enough, December 10th, 2019, we also had 2,010 students. So the number, the fluctuations in enrollment, we're not seeing them here in Hampton Bays, although we continue to be prepared if, or to the best we can, if there are changes to enrollment, but we're just not seeing those big surges that some of the other districts out east are seeing. I use this December meeting to set the stage or set the table for budget season, which really starts in earnest next month after the new year. The governor's budget is due to the legislature in the middle of January 19th, I believe. And that really kicks off budget season and the creation of the budget. And as Larry mentioned last month, we're heading down the road of setting up two budgets, a COVID world budget and also a post-COVID world budget. And hopefully the indications of the vaccine were starting to roll out. It started to roll out today in the United Kingdom, a 91-year-old woman, and a man named William Shakespeare also, to Mr. Ferraro's hero, the first two to get vaccinated in London. So hopefully that's a sign that brighter days are ahead of us and that we can put this public health concern behind us. But I do want to just move to the next slide and show you where we are with projections for enrollment. So when you look at today's enrollment, you see that we're 2010. As has been the story for the last couple of years, we're graduating larger classes and bringing in smaller classes. So we're not seeing an exodus, necessarily big changes at the grade levels in between kindergarten and senior year, but we are seeing them as smaller numbers of the little kids come out as we graduate the big kids. So when you look from the 2021 school year to the 21-22 school year, you see that we could project, if everything else stayed the same, and I just replicated kindergarten to match the kindergarten numbers this year. I played around with a couple of ways to do this this morning. I took the average of the whole elementary school, and that was a little bit lower. I figured let me come in with a little bit higher of a number because that's easier to work with and go the other way than to start with a lower number, plan a budget, and then see ourselves in an increased situation. So the important piece here for staffing is to look at the building composition chart on the right to see what happens in each building. And as I had said and say when we talk in the community about the budget and about enrollment and what that means for our school budget, it's going to take a big change to change the course of the district's makeup or landscape when you look at enrollment. Because when you if you drop X number of kids and it doesn't hit that tipping point, you still need that number of school buses, you still need that number of classrooms. You have to get to a real tipping point. We don't expect to see that tipping point for another 3 or 4 years. In little ways, we'll see them now. We might retire a teacher at one level and then hire that person's replacement at an upper level where the surge is as the wave pushes through, and sort of parlay our staffing plan that way each year. But in the grand scheme of things, 2010 to 1974, over 13 grade levels, we'll notice it in the hallways maybe, but not necessarily in the huge program structure. But between Mr. Pagano and Mr. Carlson on the instructional and special education side of things, they'll make sure that our programs, that we really dig down into the dirt to make sure that we have as much staffing as we need, but as responsible a level of staffing that we need. This doesn't drop any school buses, for example. We're just not there yet. But if this trend holds, then that 1974 number is going to drop a little bit more, and we're going to level out in sort of like an 1,800 person student school district, which is really like a Goldilocks. 1,800 to 2,100 is a really nice place to be, and offer what we want to offer to our kids. So that's where we are. Not much more to say on budget because, again, just setting the table. This is, we're determining the sandbox. What's the kind of program we need to start building for 21-22? We start with how many kids we have the opportunity to serve next year. So let me bring you back to COVID world and just reiterate that our approach to this school year is a responsive and managed opening. We know kids belong in school. We know kids they thrive more in school. We know the challenges that full remote learning bring to kids and families. And so to the extent that we can stay open, it's in everybody's best interest. The governor, the prevailing commentary from the risk factor of schools in August to the risk factor of schools in December has changed 180 degrees in going in the opposite direction. Where there was real concern and fear about the health and safety of people in school before we got into school, we know now that schools are black and white. The data shows schools are a safe place for kids and faculty and staff to be. In August, remember, we were just dreaming up what it was going to look like. We did not live in the 1918 pandemic. There were no desk barriers then. We never lived through it before. We imagined it in August. And now we're living it. We're living it for 4 months now, and we see that of the cases that we've had of COVID-19, we have no instances of school spread. They're each coming in the door independently because of spread in the greater community. So with that, I bring that trusty image of the valve, that we carefully open and close the valve as we live in phase 3. So phase 3 is going to be our phase until the pandemic is over. Phase 3 is that long purgatory of we just live here until we're back fully and we have our homecomings and we have our games and our dances and all the great things that we know and love about school. Each month, we will always revisit opportunities to increase capacity. So I announced last month that pre-kindergarten, who had until that point been operating every other day in a purple-white scenario, was full-time. So pre-K stays at 100% opening, and we're able to open the valve a little bit more this month. And that is using that Monday, that remote Monday, that social, emotional, college, career-ready Monday at the high school. And we've identified that after the first marking period, there is a great need for some kids who are at academic risk. The NPR just reported on this in the New York Times. There were a number of news reports and articles over the last week because the first marking period is basically done across the United States now. Kids who are remote are struggling. There's some great success there. Some kids are thriving in that. Some adults struggle in the remote setting, working from home, because there's lots of great distractions, like the ice cream in the freezer. We don't have ice cream in room 5. You can't have it. But if you're on your couch while you're learning, there's ice cream. Maybe you want it. So it's challenging. We know it's challenging. And so beginning next week, we're going to be bringing 70 students in on remote Mondays who are at academic risk. We're going to intervene with them. We're opening the valves to bring them in, and hopefully success brings success. And number one, we solve the problems of their academic risk. And number two, shows us that we can continue to increase capacity month after month after month until we're full.
Is the 70 throughout the whole system, or high school, middle school? How's it broken?
So this is 9 through 12. These are kids who have multiple failures on their first marking period report card. So we've identified those kids that are they're going to run through their normal schedule. We're getting another period of in-person instruction each week. We want to be able to offer that to as many kids as possible, as fast as possible. We're going to start in that triage mode and bring those kids in, try to patch up any holes that exist in the learning, and then continue to reevaluate. So Mr. Richard and Dr. Greenberg and our district office and the HPTA have been working really collaboratively to try to figure this challenge out and bring kids in and remediate in those places where they need to be remediated. So as I move to the next slide, I'll just talk briefly about a couple of other things. Talked about phase 3. I want to address the continuing buzz that's out there in Suffolk County and Hampton Bay on Long Island. There are no plans for a wholesale closure before Christmas. There's no plans for that. Are you closing? I heard closing. This one's closing. That one's closing. Some districts have made that decision. Most have not. And Hampton Bays is not moving down the road of a wholesale preemptive closure. We're going to keep in the stance of if we have to close, it's going to be because of two things: a public health situation that has become untenable, it's gotten out of control in the community, or our logistical operation cannot run because of the number of adults who are impacted by either being sick or being quarantined because they're a close contact. And so that is a house of cards. And as we told parents in July and August, every opportunity since, you need a plan A, B, C, and D. Our elementary school parents will tell you that they just activated plan B, C, and D yesterday, because on Sunday and Saturday evening, we let them know that we were going to be fully remote because of the number of adults who were quarantined as a result of a close contact. Monday gave our team the opportunity to make sure to reconfigure the coverage and supervision plan so that we could be back in school today, full in person, with the appropriate health and safety coverage that's needed for kids. Health and safety is our top priority. We're not doubling up classrooms because that violates our social distancing and all of the other risk mitigation steps we've taken. So we needed a minute to retool there, and then we were full steam ahead again. That could change every time the phone rings. My heart, takes a, ooh, what is it? Oh, it's just Mr. Carlson asking what I want for lunch, thankfully. Sometimes, it's that call that I get from Mr. Meyer on Saturday afternoon that says, we have an issue. And, so it could happen like that. And I'm so grateful for your support in making these decisions and knowing that I have the support to make those decisions, and then the team that we can send out that bat signal and say, okay, we have to retool. We're going fully remote on Monday. We need to contact trace, and everybody jumps into their seat in the car and does what they need to do. So, and I'm, super grateful to our families, because I know that every decision that we make is a ripple effect, and it hits harder in some families than others as you're retooling coverage plans and what to do. So we don't make those decisions lightly. We don't just say, we'll go remote, because we know that it does have an impact. I will never overestimate a snow day again. A snow day is one day, and we hem and haw and stress, and we're living this every single day now. So your perspective changes over time. But the reality is, if we end up in a fully remote situation, it's likely going to be because of the logistical concerns of adults not existing to cover and open the building. Thankfully, we have the plans in place to go fully remote, like a flip of a switch. And we saw Mr. Carlson's worked with the elementary school teachers to have a fully remote day yesterday. We were in our teachers' chicken coops in their backyards, and they were meeting their animals, and they were live streaming instruction from kindergarten through fourth grade. It was remarkable to see. And 5th through 12th already have live stream opportunities, so that was, that's a really easy toggle. So, the adults, we have to do our part to make sure, there's no shame in being quarantined. There's no shame in being sick, but it does trigger a series of processes that we have to respond to, and hard decisions that we have to make. The other question that I'm asked from a socially distanced amount of space at King Cullen is, well, what about athletics? When are sports starting again, and are they going to start again? The Section 11, which is our Suffolk County Athletic Association, designated Monday, January 4th for the beginning of the sports season. At this time, New York State is only allowing low-risk sports, and I'm looking at our varsity wrestling coach and trying not to make eye contact because it's not great news for him right now. But the only winter sport that we have available to us right now is boys and girls winter track and field. And we await a decision by the governor as to whether or not high-risk sports, wrestling, competitive cheer, volleyball, and basketball will be allowed to run. Right now, they're not. I have my doubts, and I'm skeptical about whether or not winter track and field is even going to run. As we're going through the surge and the state is coming up with its winter plan, I'm struggling to envision what January 4th is going to look like. So in real time, we'll respond to that and communicate to our coaches and most importantly to our athletes. Okay, so a quick COVID update. We have 45 cases as of today. We currently have 94 individuals, staff, students, and faculty, 94 individuals on some version of quarantine because they were a close contact, because they've traveled out of state and they're caught in that New York State travel advisory. Out of an abundance of caution, their family has chosen to quarantine them, or they're isolating, or they're sick themselves. So 94, that's more than, that's a big portion of, that's more than just a few. And so our nurses are doing a remarkable job. Mr. Pagano is helping them through managing the rolling clock of when people can come in and out and when they're back and when they're cleared and how we document that, because tomorrow that 94 could drop to 87 as the next wave comes back in, and then jump back up as another group goes out. So it is a real-time management task.
Quick question.
Yep.
The 45 is from the first day of school?
45 is from the first day of school, 45 cases. Our first case was October 15th.
Right, okay.
A month ago, by context, to see how fast this is moving, on Friday, November 13th, we had 24 cases. So October 15th to November 13th, 24 cases. We went from 24 to 45 in just under a month. So the pace is continuing. Our protocol reminders: 14-day quarantine for close contacts from the date of the last contact, and for those who test positive, a 10-day isolation period from the date of the test result. Pending test in the household means everybody stays home. We have the New York State travel advisory. We'll push that back out to families before Christmas. But if people leave New York State and go to any state that does not border New York, you have to get a test before you come back to New York, wherever you are. You're in Virginia, you're in Ohio, you have to get a test there within 3 days of leaving to come back to New York. And then when you come back to New York, you have to wait at least 3 days, and on day 4 or later, you can get a test. 2 negatives is the jailbreak, and you can come back to school. Otherwise, you have to wait in quarantine for 14 days. That's where the advisory stands right now. Again, I watch my Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Emmy Award-winning New York State updates for news, and we react in real time to those news. Our weekly assessment, weekly health assessment, is in the process of rolling out. Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Pagano are moving us in that direction to the Frontline Health Portal system. So we've communicated to families about logging on to that. We were using the Google form in September, October, November. It did not meet our needs. It wasn't getting the job done to the degree it needs to get done. So next week, we will begin, for those final 2 weeks before the winter break, we'll begin actually implementing it. Tuesdays for purple cohort kids and kids who are in every single day, and Wednesday for white cohort kids. And we'll have that first 2-week period to work out any kinks, make sure we're getting families enrolled. The program gives us a real-time report of who's filled it out and who hasn't, so we can follow up with those families much more expeditiously than we were able to do with the Google form. So we're moving in that direction. We continue to evolve and improve. Our communication protocol has changed as well. We want to make sure that communication is timely and transparent. When that doesn't happen, trust erodes, concern and anxiety increase, and we've done a very good job of putting out letters every day, but the work that goes into getting those letters out is becoming unmanageable with the speed on certain days when we're getting positive case notifications. And so doing the letter and then posting it in the 5 different locations where we've been posting it, we do before we stumble. We moved to make it a little bit more efficient. We looked at what some other districts were doing. So now we have a Google Sheet that is a live link on our website, so we'll just push out the link. Notification of a positive case. You won't get the flowery "Dear Parents, Guardians, hope this letter finds you well, Lars Clemenson, Superintendent of Schools." Now we're just going to give you the facts. Here's the link. You can click it. You can see in real time what it is, and that way we can get that information out quickly, and nobody has to wonder. You know, that's the worst thing, wonder. We don't want that, unless you're a kid, because wonderment is good. But if you're an adult in a global health pandemic, you don't want to wonder. We want to give you the information that you need. 21% of our student body as of today is learning fully remotely. We can't wait to see them back in person again. It's a little bit of a fluid number as families have different needs. But that's where we stand right now. Our yellow zone testing summary, we were the first shot out of the cannon in Suffolk County as a yellow zone with our friends in Riverhead. And we conducted a 20% in-school population testing over a 2-week period. We have until tomorrow to meet that deadline with the objective of proving that our positivity rate inside school among staff, students, and faculty is lower than that of the community. We met our 20% obligation yesterday, so we're done. And with 403 tests that were administered of school population, there were 3 positives, which is good that we were able to identify people who were sick so we could get them well, and then also pull 3 asymptomatic individuals out of the system who were unknown, could be unknown spreaders, right? So the testing worked. There was a lot of trepidation in early November among schools before testing got going. Hampton Bays was a great test case. If it had happened anywhere, I'm proud that it happened in Hampton Bays because it allowed our team to show the public what they were capable of. And you can see little William up there on the left. William's in 2nd grade. I talked to his mom, so it's okay that the picture is public there. It was above the fold front cover, so I'm sure William's family is going to get that in their Christmas cards this year too. Brave little boy was part of our testing program. And came in brave, got tested, got his results, got a lollipop, and he was on his way. It was that simple. Yesterday, we conducted the testing with our own staff. So right before Thanksgiving, the cavalry from Suffolk County Department of Health came in. They brought in all the staff because they had never done school-based testing either. So we were really learning all together. We put our systems thinkers in place with our administrators, our staff, and we implemented that program on November 19th and 20th. It generated the cover that you see on your slide there, the COVID-19 testing in Suffolk County schools. The Hampton Bays experience became the model for Suffolk County, for districts to prepare themselves for school-based testing. There's about 6 other districts who have now, since we started, have been engaged in school-based testing. And the roadmap with all the links and the forms and the flyers and everything is in this 10-step process. And so if we ever have to test again, we pull the plan off the shelf and we're ready. Our nurses are trained, our nurses are willing, they are professionals, and you could see Margaret McDonald right there in the second photo on bottom there. Miss McDonald is our nurse at the high school. She conducted our testing yesterday. She conducted almost 40 tests on our faculty and staff, was able to read and diagnose the results, give the individuals their information, and then our own staff, our clerical staff, puts those results right into the state portal. So when the governor reads his numbers in real time, it includes what was just done. We don't mail them off somewhere, they don't get processed elsewhere. We handle this from soup to nuts, from the very beginning to the end. We are going to be pushing out, so apparently with every yellow zone designation, you're given a swag bag from Governor Cuomo, and that includes 9,500 reusable, washable masks and New York State hand sanitizer. We don't send this home with the kids because there's alcohol content in there, but the masks we're going to be pushing out. All our kids wear masks every day. Sometimes they wear disposable ones because that's what they prefer. Others have cool designs on them, and they become a fashion piece. These are white cloth masks that New York State provided us. Thank you to Public Safety Director Ryan Murphy for coordinating that with me. But we have probably 8,000 of these in our inventory right now that we're going to push out because it's important that family members are wearing masks, whether they're on a job site or they're in a truck or they're out and about. So we want the masks out. We don't want them. We want them to go where they are needed. And we're pushing these out, these little spray bottles of hand sanitizer, to as many adults as we can, because again, we don't need this. We need people to be washing their hands, covering their face, watching their space, and getting tested if they feel like they need to get tested. That's how we get out of this challenge. So that's my report tonight. I want to thank our staff, our faculty, the union leaderships in each of our unions who said, we're in this together. Let's get on the other side of this. We can do this really well. Let's get tested. Let's encourage our staff and students and faculty to get tested. And let's just get this done so that COVID-19 is in the rearview mirror. That's it for my report tonight. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, I think I answered most of them for now.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for those watching at home, too.
Thank you, and we will move on to Mr. Luce.
No report at this time, Mr. Sproul.
All right. All right. With that being said, we will move on to the business section here. And we are going to do a consent agenda from 4A to 4F. I'm going to need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 5A on its own merits there is, I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Personnel, consent agenda from 6A to 6I. I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 7A, need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Public comment, persons may address the Board of Education on any matters of interest or concern. The board president will recognize all speakers. Time limits may be imposed based upon agenda needs. Do we have anything? No? Nothing? Okay. With that being said, I need a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. And have a great holiday, since we will not be seeing you before then. And be safe.
Thank you.